Hello, my friends, and welcome back to KTB Creates. Today, I'm taking part in Nadia's Wreath Wednesday. DIY with Nadia hosts this every Wednesday, and she asked me to be part of it this Wednesday. So I'm very honored. She is fabulous. She has a fabulous channel. She's super sweet. So you're definitely going to want to check her out as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So for my wreath, I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful patriotic wreath. Now, I did get my inspiration from Pinterest. I've been seeing these wreaths all over, and I wanted to create my own, but I wanted to do it kind of on a budget with supplies that I've already had or that I recently purchased. So I didn't have any grapevine wreaths. That's generally what I saw with it. So I have a bunch of wire form wreaths. So I'm just going to take one of those. This is a 16-inch wire wreath form. And just to bulk it up a little bit, I'm going to wrap some plastic bags around it. You can make this as bulky as you want, but I just did one quick layer of the plastic bags around, and then I just taped them down to secure them. And that I thought was substantial enough to be able to wrap ribbon around it and it look, nice, like it's a wreath form and not so much wire. Next, I took some burlap ribbon that I had from the Dollar Tree. This is a spool of 9 feet of ribbon. So I am going to use 2 of them. And you can space it out, as you want. I kind of kept it pretty close together because I wanted to make sure we hid the bags. But you really couldn't see through it at all, really. So you could even make it wider, in between, or when you're overlapping the ribbon, I should say. So anyways, I used 2 rolls of it. You might be able to get away with doing 1 if you spread it out a lot, because the one side of the wreath form is going to be covered by fabric. So you don't even have to truly cover the one side of the wreath form. You only have to cover half. And then I'm just showing you here how I spaced it all out so you could see how I did mine. Next, I purchased some fabric from Joann's. So I did a nice vintage, like red and white stripe fabric, and then I did some blue star fabric. You can also use, if you have any of the scarves that from the Dollar Tree, if you were able to get any of them, that would look really nice as well. But I wanted to do this vintage type of fabric. So my fabric is 23 inches by 56 inches long, and that worked perfectly for a 16-inch round wreath form. So all I'm doing here is, I didn't want to pull out my sewing machine. If you like to sew, you could do that. That's probably the best way to do this, but hot glue works perfectly. I use Gorilla hot glue sticks, so it holds, honestly, just about anything. So all I'm doing here is just folding up all of the edges, just so the fabric doesn't fray and, it looks nice and finished. So you're going to want to do that on both long pieces of the fabric first, and then we're going to go ahead and do the bottom, the shorter piece of the fabric. And you're going to want to try and make it as neat as you possibly can, just as you would be sewing it. So here's where we're going to do the short end of the fabric once you did both sides of the fabric. And you just want to be very careful when you're doing the corners because you don't want anything hanging off the edge. So I did kind of make sure that the corners were secured really well, and then you can go ahead and do the rest. So now comes the fun part. putting it all together. So you want to gather your fabric upside down on your surface and kind of lay it out the way that you want to wrap it around the wreath form. So I'm going to take my wreath form and I'm going to put it on top of the fabric, and then we're going to kind of wrap it around and tie it. The idea here is to not make it perfect. You don't have to fuss too much with it. You want it to look like really natural, like it was just a piece of fabric thrown over it. Of course, I fussed a little bit too much with it, but you know, you want it to be nice and tight so that it obviously stays, but you're not going to get it perfect doing it this way. So at the end, you'll see I do end up like hot gluing some of it around the back of it just to make it nice and tight and stay put exactly where I want it. So once you kind of get it situated, I went ahead and zip tied each fabric. So the striped fabric and then the star fabric. So I did them separately. And you see here, I'm just kind of fiddling with it until I get it positioned the way that I want. And then I tighten the fabric as I'm securing the zip tie. So it's nice and tight. So now it's time to start decorating. I chose to keep mine a very neutral with just some green and white picks. These I purchased at Michael's and Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to make a bow with some nice mesh, like cream colored ribbon. I just started go ahead and placing them and hot gluing them down. We're going to put the bow right over everything on that corner piece, so you're not going to see all of that. So you could go ahead and hot glue it right down to your fabric. I've also seen people use like very like make it more whimsical looking. Like you could put stars in here, like star picks, or those like red, white, and blue beaded picks, things like that, if you want it to make it a little bit more on the whimsical side. But I'm going for the natural look, so this is what I chose to do. And then I'm not going to show you how I made my bow because I'm still not really great with that, but it came out well. I absolutely love the way this looks. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. I was so excited to make this wreath because I've been seeing them out there for some time, so I kind of wanted to recreate it. This is what the finished look looks like, so definitely let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you as always. If you are joining me from DIY with Nadia, welcome. Please consider joining my family here at KTB Creates by clicking that subscribe button, like this video, and hit that bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.